apologize. Please tell everybody to like and subscribe to Serious.
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Like, subscribe, and share Serious and Silliness, and do it now or you're missing out.
Thank you. All right. Tonight, my guest is the very beautiful Jeanie Welker, IFBB professional bodybuilder.
That's very kind. Thank you, John. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
Of course, anytime. I mean, it's a pleasure that you come on my show. Believe me, you're doing me more of a favor than I'm doing you. So, how long have you been pro for?
Since 2018, I got my pro card at the NPC Universe out in your neck of the woods.
I was going to say that is literally right by me.
It is.
And I wasn't at that one. I was not at that one. The last team Universe I went to was 13. And this is a funny story. I'll keep it short because this is going to be about you. That was the show that John Meadows turned pro in, right? That year, that year, I won the Brooklyn Grand Prix.
Oh, that's amazing.
Okay. So I'm like, all right, I want to do a national level show, right? So I won the Brooklyn Grand Prix. So I'm like a big shot, right? So yes. I go look at Team Universe, and actually Team Universe was before it. So I was going to do the Brooklyn Grand Prix, but then I went to Team Universe to check it out because I had plans on doing a national level show, and I did wind up winning the Brooklyn Grand Prix. Anyway, I go there, and John Meadows wins the whole thing, and I see him, and I go home, and I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, I'm kidding myself here. I'm like, I'm never gonna look like that. And she's like, what are you going to not do? I'm like, no, I'm going to do it. You know, I'm already paid my dues. You know, I'm going to do it. But this, I'm wasting my time here. This is ridiculous. Anyway, so you turned pro in 2018 at Team Universe. And,
that was in physique, women's physique. So I actually didn't start out in bodybuilding in the IFBB. Okay. And I did one physique show. And then they opened up bodybuilding. Well, and then COVID. And I didn't do anything that year, of course. And then they opened up bodybuilding around that 2020, and so I said, well, why not? That's actually what I'd really like to do. I like the posing a little bit better. And I like the purity of it, if that makes sense. I like that it's the least subjective in the sense of what they're looking for. And I need those clean cut rules. I'm a very structured person, and I what do you expect from me? And that's what I'm going to try to deliver. I need things to be in that subjective, or I'm just not wearing the right heels. I'm not wearing you don't like my hairstyle that year, or the color of my suit's wrong. I need to know, what are you looking for? And then that just makes sense to me. So I went ahead and said, well, let me try my hand at bodybuilding just to see where it's at. And then been very happy with the changeover. I think my goals are a little bit different than some of the other pro women out there, just because I do have a career outside of bodybuilding. That's not the fitness industry. I'm not in that. The whole gang that they've got going on. So
yeah, but don't go in, because that's like a big surprise.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell anybody that. Don't tell anybody what you do for a living yet, because it's really interesting. It's another reason why I want to do on.
Okay.
So how did you do in that one physique show? How did you do? What show was it?
Oh, it was the Vancouver Pro.
Okay.
In 20. Isn't that funny? I remember watching Alicia's interview, and she's like, I can't remember my placings, and she's had many more shows than I have, because she's amazing, but I have the same kind of problem. So 18, I was in Universe. 19, then I must have done Vancouver Pro. I think I did 8th out of 15.
Okay.
And a former bodybuilder, Sheila Bleck, came in and just took everything. So, I was like, oh, she's a former bodybuilder though. Yeah. And of course she came in, just cut all to heck. So
yeah, she sucked down, which a lot of women bodybuilders were doing when there was no more women bodybuilding.
yes,
Yeah, they were sucking down and doing women's
did
physique.
she
Yeah.
did. She really trimmed it down, and so that's what they were looking for. And then so she took the show, and that was well deserved. So, but that was my first foray out. I was totally happy with it. I was like, well, I didn't DNP, and I felt like I was better than I was the last time.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could say that every show, even if I am dead last, I feel like I've won, and that's my mindset, and I'm good with that. Did I make improvements? And then I've only done one. Then I started, that was that one. That was as a physique. There you go. And then I switched over to bodybuilding.
And how many bodybuilding shows have you done?
Just two.
And which two are they?
I did the Savannah. I keep saying Sacramento.
That's a big one.
Savannah last year.
Yeah, that was a big one last year.
That was a fun show, and my first outing as a bodybuilder, I came in third, so I did very well.
That's fantastic.
I was 1 point between myself and second place, so I will take that.
Yeah,
and then I did the Chicago Pro in this year.
Oh, and how'd you do there?
I did 5th out of 12, and I flubbed the week. I should have not done anything. I was doing the whole water, carb, salt. I thought, I feel like I should learn my lesson, but I didn't. And I looked better the week before and the week after. And so I think I finally learned my lesson. I'm not mess with anything, because I felt like garbage as well. And I felt like something was wrong. But I'm not making an excuse. I'm saying I'm very lucky that I broke the top 5. And that actually was my goal. When I saw the way things were going I'm like, look, I just want to get somewhere in the top 5. And then I landed right there, and I went, okay, step back, revamp, and then do better next time.
Yeah, the girl who won.
myself.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. The girl who won the Chicago Pro was Michelle. Am I got it right? I know Sheena came in second, I believe. Am I right? She came. God,
Angela. Yeah.
Oh, right. The other, right. Okay, Michelle something or other. I think she
and
did.
Then
yeah.
Kentucky.
Okay, then Sheena was either 4th or 5th or something like that.
She was 4th.
Okay, Angela Yao, and then I think the girl after it might have been Tampa right after her was Michelle something or other. I've been trying to get both of them on. And I guess they're big shots now. They won the show, so they can't, they gotta do,
And there it was Chelsea.
I'm sorry?
She goes by, is it Chelsea? She's going to the Olympia. She looks fantastic.
Let me see. I don't remember 100%, but we'll take your word for it. It's fine. Yeah, I've been trying to get those two girls on, especially Angela. Is that her name? Yeah, I was trying to get her on. We kind of went back and forth, but then sometimes you just lose touch or whatever, and it happens. So, do you work with anybody? Do you have a nutritionist, a trainer, anything like that?
No.
Okay.
I do it all myself, but it's fortuitous you mentioned John Meadows, because so I started watching. A buddy of mine was like, this guy's really got he's a really humble bodybuilder when he was still alive, unfortunately. And then he's got all this good information. So I started watching his videos, and I was like, I really, really love this guy. Really respect it, the knowledge that he's putting out. And it was real. I could tell he was a genuine human being.
Yes, he was very sincere. Yeah, it's the truth.
So I watched those videos, and I put together my training based around everything I could get off the YouTube videos. Better than a trainer. I mean, that's the second best thing, is that I could just watch these videos and then put something together for myself based on his principles. Love it. And I said to myself, if the next time I see him, if I see him in person, I'm going to thank him personally for revamping, for building my shoulders, where that is still a weak spot on my body. And I was actually able to measurably put on size just by doing the workouts that he had suggested, this and this and this. And I just put all of them together from the different videos. and grew my shoulders because of him. And then 4 months later, he was gone. So
Yeah.
um,
The amount of knowledge that he had, he was going to be, he would have been the next George Farrow, the next Charles Glass. There's no question about it. He was heading in that direction. The amount of knowledge he was had, and more and more pros were going to him.
yeah,
You know, more and more Samson Dowder was going to him, and Fuad Abiad was going to him. Sean Clarita started going to him.
yeah.
All they all started gravitating toward him, and then tragedy happened. But what are you gonna do? So what's interesting is that your profession has nothing to do with the fitness industry.
Absolutely zero.
You're a veterinary, right? Veterinarian.
I'm a veterinarian.
That is fantastic because I'm a huge animal lover.
Love it.
I
Yeah.
have two very large pit bulls right now.
Love it.
Who are 14 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and my wife is downstairs as we speak right now cleaning up piss because Lola can't hold it anymore.
She's an older spayed female?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk afterwards.
Okay, good. Actually, maybe
That's something that might help you.
All right, good. Maybe I'll bring my wife in when we talk because she'd be interested in that. So, what made you go in that direction? What made you become a vet?
I always wanted to be a doctor of some sort.
Mhm.
In Asian families, you can be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. Those are your options. So
Yeah.
that's not actually why, though. I mean, I I chose the one kind of doctor that my mom was like, because it's I always loved animals incredibly. I have I'm able to empathize with them a bit too much. Like I feel their pain when I see them in pain, more so than in humans, perhaps. But I didn't think I was going to be able to. The thing that was blocking me was, am I going to be able to euthanize? Can I put them down? And I thought at the time when I was younger that was not something I was going to be able to do. And that with time and wisdom and maturity, I realized that, and I tell this to people who I'm in the room with them and I'm taking their family member from them. I tell them this, and I mean it completely. This is absolutely the worst and the best thing that I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's bittersweet. I am taking a creature that you love and that I've bonded with over the times that I've seen him or her. But also, I'm able to take suffering away, and it is the greatest mercy. So in the time when,
Agreed.
at a time when my medicine has reached its end, and I can no longer avoid pain, suffering, or a quality of life that is worth continuing for everyone, then I can grant mercy and release them. And so that makes it one of the greatest and kindest things that we sometimes don't even do for our own kind.
Very
so
true.
that's how I feel about that. So I came around full circle, and now I embrace it, even though it still kills me every time. So
Yeah.
I think that if it ever doesn't bother me, it's time to hang up the stethoscope, because my compassion fatigue is in full. I need to stop practicing, because then it means that I'm not in it.
100%. Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I agree. But it is definitely a career of love. That's for sure. I'm sure you've worked with plenty of dogs and cats. Any odd animals that come in and you were like, oh, okay, this is strange?
Where, when I first started out, I was in an area that didn't have a veterinarian for, I don't know, specialty care was very far out. So I have had some snakes come in, a tarantula, macaw, Brazilian macaws, who can like snap your fingers off if they get a good grip on it. They'll get you right. If they get you right at the knuckle, they can. It's really, yeah. Wow. I've got one to bite me. One bit me through a towel, and it smarted quite a bit, but they didn't break through. I was able to get my finger out in time. But they're very large birds, so intense. But and I do work with pocket pets, so chinchillas, mice, hamsters,
Very cool.
some iguanas, some beardies.
Okay.
But that's uncommon for me. So usually I can work with, unlike an MD who works with a human, veterinarians are pretty much every MD you can think of, every specialty, and then dentistry and podiatrists as well, all rolled up into one. We do have veterinary specialists, but we kind of have to be a jack of all trades and a species of all trades.
Okay. All right.
You know what I mean? So I see a little bit of everything, but I'm not an expert on those other ones that I mentioned. It's mostly companion animals. So
that's very admirable. And what kind of schooling do you get? An MD degree or do you get a PhD when you
get a DVM, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, unless you went to UPenn and then you are a VMD. That's the only place in America that you get a different degree.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Veterinary medical doctor.
And what I know that people are going to think this is boring, but if you see up there, I don't know what you.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I have 2 degrees. Not in.
Love it.
Yeah. So I have one in psychology, one in business. One's a master's in business. So I'm just going to ask you one more boring question. We'll get back to bodybuilding. Is there a standardized test to get your degree in from college to go into grad school for your specialty?
Yes. So they normally, when I was applying, I was told I had to take the MCAT. The MCAT is a bear. I didn't want to take the MCAT, but I took the MCAT. And then I find out with my classmates, I was like, that MCAT sucked, didn't it? And they were like, I took the GRE. Bitch. So they took the GRE with biosubject test. And of course, I think the biosubject test is famously much more difficult than the actual GRE, which is general knowledge. Okay. But I took the MCAT.
Which is the standardized test that people go take from medical school, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So
I was in there with a bunch of pre-meds, just sweating through their chairs.
Yeah. So there's no cheap way out then, because like after I found out, like, I'm not shitting at anybody's career, but there's no standardized test for being a chiropractor. There's even taking your LSAT. There's no math on that, which I was like, oh, I suck at math. I should have took the LSAT and become a lawyer. But it's very admirable. So let's get back onto bodybuilding. But I have one more personal question.
You can ask me anything.
Thank you very much. You said you're Asian, but you're only part Asian, right?
I'm half South Korean.
Okay.
I always have to say South, apparently, because I've been asked many a time, North or South. I'm like, oh my God, you're a dumbass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've never met a North Korean.
Yeah.
No one has ever met a North Korean unless they're a spy, and they wouldn't tell you they're North Korean.
And you don't even have to go that far. Just look at your genetics. North Koreans don't have genetics like you. They don't.
Oh, well, they're also starving to death.
Exactly. Did you ever look at the average height?
The growth? Yes.
It's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, some people are just uneducated. All right. So your mom is Korean, and what was your dad?
Half German, half English. So I'm actually more clean cut than your average American. I'm like a Heinz 3.
Okay, very cool. Your parents still together?
No, my dad is gone.
Okay, he passed?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to hear that. Okay. All right. So, suggestion, since you are an animal lover, if you ever do want to get a coach, I recommend you go with Dave Palumbo, because he is a huge animal person.
I didn't know that about him.
Especially reptiles.
Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he has he lives in this huge house somewhere in Florida. I think his entire basement is all, because he breeds pythons and all these different crazy reptiles. And I'm pretty sure he's the guy that mentored, who's the guy that trains all the elite female bodybuilders? Help me out here.
I was thinking Shelby, but I didn't know.
That's it.
Okay.
Shelby Starnes. I'm pretty sure Dave Palumbo was the guy who mentored Shelby Starnes, so on and so forth.
Oh, that's wow.
So,
I didn't know that connection.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, okay, just a suggestion if you ever do decide, because he's crazy with that shit. Anyway, all right. So what's the future? What are you going to be doing in the future? 2022 or 2023? What shows are you thinking of competing in?
This might be disappointing. I'm probably not going to do anything in 2023. I feel like I'm someone who benefits from a very long off season.
Okay.
And I'm okay taking that time off and not being in any limelight.
Well, I don't blame you for a couple of reasons. So the first reason is when you have a full-time career, it's a lot more difficult to put on quality muscle. So you're going to need that extra time. You know, the guys that like that don't have a regular job and bodybuilding is how they make their money, they're able to put quality muscle on a lot easier. You know, the rest is there, and you know the structure is there, and
Right.
no problem eating and so on and so forth, and blah blah blah. Which is in my opinion the reason why people do so good when they go to, when I forgot the gym,
Right.
Oxygen Gym. You know, there's
Yes.
literally, you know, whereas somebody like yourself who has a career, yeah, it might take a little bit more time. So I understand. And the other thing is, you're still relatively young. Am I accurate?
No.
Well,
I haven't had a facelift, but I'm older than you think.
okay.
It's the fountain of youth of people who lift. You notice we all age better.
I think so. Yeah.
So I keep waiting for menopause to hit, but it hasn't yet.
Because usually girls in bodybuilding do better after the age of 40.
And I'm definitely not. I'm over.
Oh, okay. I don't know why that is. Well, I do know why a little bit. I noticed the
Also maturity and the hormone shifts.
Right, the estrogen
all
drop.
those things. Yeah. And of course, just time in and of itself. So putting the time in, the body of a 20-year-old woman is not going to have, unless she starts way younger, it's still not going to have that.
Yeah.
We lean down, we got that grainy look. That's
right.
So I love that. And that's what we all seek when we're about to step on stage. And that's just simply not something you usually see in a younger body, unless, you know, just really good genes.
Yeah, no, it is. It's God's honest truth. And I've had Rita West on my show 4 or 5 times. And even though she seems to be not rewarded for it on stage, but when she is on stage and she's close to 50, I think. I want to say she's in her late 40s at this point. When she does a rear double bicep pose, it is probably the most impressive rear double bicep on a woman's bodybuilding stage.
I've heard you say that.
Oh, okay. It's unbelievable. If you ever get a chance to, I think that's actually on Instagram. It might be her. I think that's her Instagram picture. If you ever get a chance, I mean, from her glutes to her hamstrings to her calves, all it's unbelievable. You know, I mean, and like I said, she's like, I think she's close to 50. But with men, it's the complete opposite. Once a guy is over 40, it really starts going downhill. With obviously rare exceptions like a freak like Dexter Jackson and so on, and Kamal, you know. But for the most part, mid to late 30s seems to be maybe even the early 40s, 41, 42. But around that age is a man's peak. Where women in bodybuilding, they're just getting started.
That's true.
Yeah, it really is. It's strange. Okay, so one of the things that I talk about with women bodybuilding is the trolling. And this is why I respect women bodybuilders so much. I don't know if you heard me say this in any of the other interviews. The reason why I respect women bodybuilders so much is they have to deal with terrible things being said to them in person and trolls online. And they still have to basically just brush it off like nobody said anything and go back to work like nobody said anything. And what a lot of people don't understand is even though you build your muscles the way they are, you're still a woman inside. And those things hurt, and especially will hurt a woman. How do you deal with that?
I think I'm different in that sense, and it doesn't hurt me.
Okay.
Because I don't do it for them.
So
if you do something for yourself, there's a purity in that.
Okay.
What are you going to say to me that I understand this isn't really the social norm? I've already accepted that, and I'm already going forth. So once you've already committed to that, how can you gripe the naysayers? Because you're already on your path.
Right.
There's not much they can say. I will say this though. I think I'm I don't know if it's just luck or I carry myself in a certain way that I don't think it's that, because that says something about my other sisters in iron. I think though that I just don't get approached. I guess there's something about me that says, don't talk to me. Other than I actually get positive things. If they're thinking negative things, and I know that someone
Right.
is going to think negative things, that's their prerogative to do so, but they simply don't tell me that in person.
Right.
Okay, online's a whole different ballgame.
That's right.
We're all, but in person, I do get the stares that are
Right.
and then I look right at them and I smile, and there's like, oh, I was staring.
Yeah.
But they don't say anything. And I don't keep eye contact that long. So I just kind of went, hi, okay. And then I just keep doing my thing, knowing that they're probably still staring a hole through me. But I can't assume what they're thinking is negative, but it might be. Don't know. They don't tell me. I do get compliments, and they're usually from men. And I don't perceive them, and I'm not naive in this sense. I don't think that it's, hey, I want to get in your pants. It's actually, I really wish my arms looked like yours. Or you are really putting the work in. You're making me want to go to the gym. These are the kind of things I hear in person.
Yeah.
So my experience is a little bit different, but I also live in Seattle. I don't know if the people are really, really nice up here. Really nice.
Okay.
And there's the region. It's not necessarily statewide, but Seattle's really a more liberal place that everyone can be who they want to be, whether it's 5 different colors of hair, a face that has covered with tattoos, or someone who just wants to be themselves. So I think I'm in a very accepting. I'm originally from the Midwest. And I will say that if I were there now, it feels different. Like they're not as accepting in general. And I was from a small town. And so I think my body now would probably garner some disrespectful comments or.
That's a very good point. I never realized that. You're 100% right, which is why people that are a little bit different, if you will gravitate to those areas. That's 100% accurate. Okay. Were you always athletic? When I mean athletic, muscular, even growing up?
Thick and strong.
Okay.
But not athletic.
Okay. All right.
I was a chubby kid.
Really?
And I was actually even chubby until I was chubby even when I was in the Navy at the beginning. I was a naval officer, so I'm a vet squared. I tell people that. So when I was in the Navy, I didn't lose weight until during my first tour overseas.
Really?
And dropped 30 pounds.
Wow.
So I think I weigh about the same as I did then, but I went from I'm 5'3". I went from a size 12 to a size, I guess I'm like a 2.
Right.
So body composition.
Big difference. Yeah.
Same weight, 10 different dress sizes.
Right. So I'm bouncing all over the place a little bit. But back to the trolls. When you get online trolls, which is my pet peeve, I hate that with a passion. I really do, because it just says you're a coward. And people will approach and say things to people they would never do in person.
That's
right?
very true.
Yeah. So whether it's trolling or even approaching a girl they would never approach in public, which is also cowardice in my mind. I mean, a man should be able to walk over to a girl confidently and speak and talk to her at a certain point in their life. And if the girl walks away, the guy should understand that that's the chance he takes, and he should be callous to her when he comes to a certain age. which is why I had to DM you twice and message you twice, because I know, but it's not just you. I know that if I'm reaching out to a woman, I am going to have to hit her up several times before she even notices that I DM'd her, and I put the comment underneath your post so that you go, oh, okay, you know, whatever. Because I know that, you know, you get 14 gazillion DMs. What is some of the, and I know do you normally just block the people that say nasty things, or do you just ignore it? And what was some of the cruelest stuff you've heard?
Okay, so I don't get as many now. So I think I average, okay, I dabble a little on Instagram, and I found that probably 2 to 3 times a week before I did what I'm about to tell you, I would get, this was their favorite one. Everyone liked to send me the puke emoji. What is it about me?
Oh, that's, oh.
I was like, oh, come on, the puke emoji, really? So I was like, and I just kind of went, that's disappointing, you know, but I also, though, this is the reason I changed it, not because it hurt my feelings. I think I just kind of go, ah, because it's disappointing in terms of like humanity, that you have to voice yourself this way, but you would never say this to my face. Is that I wanted to keep my Instagram a place. I just want to keep it kind of positive.
Yeah, of course.
Jump on. If you don't like it, block me.
Yeah,
if you don't like what you're seeing, keep scanning.
Yeah,
like,
really. There's a gazillion.
Get a life of your own.
Yeah, right.
Make a place for yourself. So anyway, so I wanted to keep it a place of positivity instead of, I don't want someone, because I do get messages from people that are like, you're an inspiration. I really appreciate those. You know, just like, you got me to really hit back hard today and all those kinds of things. So I didn't want them to see that and kind of go, oh, wow, but she takes a lot of flack. Because it doesn't bother me, but it might hurt them. So I put on Instagram, I still every once in a while they sneak through, and I don't know how, but I just put that if you follow me, you can leave comments. And if you are someone who follows me and you normally leave good comments, but they're starting to get a bit pervy, I just restrict you.
Yeah.
I actually restrict them. Yeah. And then it's still a place. So that's given me, I think, quite a bit of control over just a filter, keep it positive.
Right.
Let's just keep the day going.
Right.
And so for that, there's that. I don't engage them.
Good.
I think I got attacked by someone who was another veterinarian, though, and this was because I use the same hashtags, and I got flack for that. I believe someone was a veterinarian. Actually, it was a man, and he said something about my post. One of my posts was disgusting and unprofessional, and all those things.
Unprofessional.
And
do you have your own practice?
No. I like being an associate because when things break, it's not my problem.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I was going to say, because if you have your own practice, who gives a shit?
Right. But I actually, it's just a fun page. And I just said, block me.
Yeah, that's all.
I just like, if you don't like it, block me. And I put clapping hands, block me.
Right.
Because,
right.
I mean, then don't engage.
Right.
If it bothers you so much. I had someone else go, I think you got to watch your hashtags because you tagged a veterinarian. I'm like, because I am one. She's like, oh, I'm sorry.
What is that supposed to mean? Like,
I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but she apologized. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But if the hashtag stays.
What the hell, if those people should be too ignorant to realize.
Oh,
she would be too ignorant to realize the equipoise similarity. So, but anyway, okay. So
there's a lot of creepers, though. I get more creepers than trolls.
That's my next. That's my next thing. The majority of women's bodybuilders that I've spoken to, actually, no, not the majority, all of them, said they deal with trolls the same way. They just block it, ignore it, and keep it moving. Yeah. And even if somebody says something in person, they just ignore it. So my next question is, because this would be something that I could picture myself doing. and this is the first time I'm ever asking a woman bodybuilder this. I don't know why it just never came to mind before. Because I could picture myself doing it. Have you ever been on a date with a man and somebody insulted you, and then he basically like got really angry and tried to come to your aid? Because I could totally see myself doing that. Like if I'm not saying obviously I'm married, but if you and I were on a date and somebody said something terrible to you, I don't think I'd be able to control myself until that person gave you an apology.
I've never been in that situation.
Okay. All right. Okay. I could say that.
It's hard to date. It's hard for everyone. It's hard for everyone, but it's hard to date.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially hard to date.
Impossible. So
I'm sorry?
It's AKA impossible. So
for yourself, why would you say that?
It just is. So yeah.
Well, I apologize.
No, it's fine. I'm so independent. I didn't date for the past 7 years. I just got back on the market, and I just will still be on the market for the next 20 years. But 7 years.
Newly divorced or?
No, never married.
It's tougher, and I'll be totally honest with you. And this is going to be the God's honest truth. It's tougher for everyone when they get older, but it's really tough for women as they get older.
Yeah.
And that's the truth, because even and you don't even realize you're doing it. So here's what I mean. I'll be in the gym, and I go to a gym that's, big gym, and a lot of pros work out there, a lot of people that are serious. And this is what I mean by you don't even realize it. As men, you're looking at the younger girls, but you're not looking at her going, oh, I'd rather date a 25-year-old. You're looking at her going, my God, that woman is beautiful. And then this, later on you find out that she's 25 or 27 or something like that. And the majority, and even men too, the majority of people as they get older, they get out of shape. I mean, you're the exceptions to that rule. Don't get me wrong, but it's a lot more difficult for women as they get older. It really is. And there were times that I feel bad, because I've met some really, really nice women in fitness that are now older or divorced or so on and so forth, and they're absolute sweethearts. And they tell me the same thing you do. They have a difficult time.
Yeah, I get hit up by a lot of younger guys, and there's a certain age where I just can't relate to them.
Yeah, well, the younger guys only want one thing. Even though they're very nice, they'll tell you whatever you want to hear. Right? Because I mean, let's be honest. Let's be honest.
I think their bar is a bit lower than.
Oh yeah. They want anything, right? So I believe me. I actually had to do a video about this, but anyway. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, with modern medicine, women could get pregnant in their 40s, but it takes a lot, right? Yeah. And if I'm a young guy and I want to establish a life, or even if I'm a guy who just wants a family, right? If I'm going to want to date younger,
right?
Right. Exactly. So when you see a young guy hitting on a older girl, it's more of a physical, sexual thing. And they'll tell you everything you want to hear in the world. Believe me. Oh no, I love older women. I can't stand young girls. They're too immature. They'll write you a fucking sonnet.
Yeah, I know that's the motivation. I don't judge them for it. I need more.
Absolutely. You're especially a woman who
don't necessarily want to keep them around. I just
yeah.
I think people assume that women are just looking for those commitments, and then not all of us are. Obviously, I've dodged it this long. I'm very successful at it. I never had kids. I mean, this factory never opened.
Wow. Okay.
I'm just not that girl. I'm not a sentimental, romantic kind of gal. So
yeah,
I don't necessarily need them around forever either. I just would like to have
companionship,
communication, and connection in that time.
Right.
And then if it it's like a phone. Sometimes you just got to upgrade.
Listen, if you are dating now, you're gonna meet plenty of guys that are quality.
The quality is not good. So
it's gonna come. It'll come.
They don't believe that my profile pictures are real. So that one's cute.
That's just stupid. That's just
stupid. I know. And it's fine. But how else are you going to meet people? Because I'm I'm a recluse, which a lot of people know about me that I work with and my close friends. I don't go out. I mean, unless they're at the grocery store or at my workplace, which I don't do at work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Actually, I work out at a home gym.
Really?
So I have a gym out behind my back. There's a separate garage, and I have everything I need there.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe you want to join a regular gym, and then
I thought about it, but only because I think that I think that there's something to be said for. I don't necessarily need to be watched. I don't need that attention. Okay?
The energy.
It's the energy. I don't even have to say anything. I get respect from the guys. I feel like I do because I've got that like.
They do. They
100%. The gym God. You go in the morning and there's not this whole like, it's all I have to do is kind of do
yeah, that's it.
I get that back, or I'll get this. I've never even talked to these guys, but when I was going to a gym, I'd get the fist pump, and then
100%. When a girl is like you, and a guy is also a serious lifter, and he gives you the fist pump, or he gives you acknowledgement, basically is what he's saying is, you're one of us.
You're one of us. You belong here.
Right.
I really, really love that.
Yeah.
And I also think I train just a little. I know I do. I train harder if I know someone could be watching me and seeing that I'm doing something half-assed.
Right. Sure.
Like, I could do a few more, but I'm home. No one's watching me.
Right.
That guy on the treadmill is looking right at me. I'm going to get 3 more out. So
yeah.
So I think that on my off days, I'm going to go back to the box gym. We'll see.
Yeah, and there are plenty of girls where I go to that compete. The gym I go to where either compete or are pros. And there's this one girl that I'm friendly with, not so much anymore. And she said to me, I mean, she's not as muscular as your professional bodybuilder, but she's a competitive physique girl. And she said, the only place I feel completely comfortable is when I'm in the gym.
Yes.
And, but as far as the dating goes, I don't think you're going to have a problem. First of all, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. You're beautiful. There are plenty of guys that are into fit women, plenty. Okay. What you have to do is look at your Instagram followers, how many you have. I mean, you have like 50,000 or something like that. Right. And you look at the other girls, Alicia Young has like 250,000. It's insane. So there's definitely men, I think, that's just embarrassed to say it in front of other people because they'll get like, they're embarrassed to say that they're like a girl that has muscle or whatever. And what's funny is that I never had a problem admitting it, right? I've always thought girls that were fit were attractive. They never interested in me. They were never interested. Anytime I ever approached the girl or wanted to talk to a girl that was fit, they wanted nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
They'd want and I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. But and the fact that this is going to sound stupid, but it's the truth. The fact that you have no kids means that you could dedicate time to a man. That's one thing that a lot of girls with kids don't understand is like men understand that if you have 3 kids, our time together is very limited. Right. So the fact that you are intelligent, beautiful, and have no kids, I don't see you having a problem.
It's hard. It's hard to find what I'm the picky one.
Okay.
So I actually haven't gone on the dates that I talk about. I'm just say that I'm dating, meaning I'm receptive to it, but I certainly haven't gone on any dates and don't foresee any.
This is a kind of a fun conversation. I know we're going in a different direction, but
fine.
What are your requirements then if a guy does ask you out?
I don't like to say requirements only because, how people are always like
preferences.
He or she is not my type. So we'll say these things, right?
Okay.
And then you think to yourself, but that person's, you're still single. So maybe your type isn't good for you.
Yeah.
Keep looking for that same type. So I try and look for things that.
Well, what are your preferences? Put it that way.
What appeals to me is an alpha male. But not the douche hat kind of alpha male.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Be an alpha male.
A leader,
but he doesn't have to do it loudly. So I
which real alpha men are like.
they're quiet, but
The real alpha men aren't boisterous and obnoxious.
they don't
100%.
need to advertise
That's
their
right.
dominance. And that's what makes them an alpha male.
That's right.
So I love it. I love an intelligent man who doesn't make you feel stupid.
Okay.
And is applied intelligence. So you can be Einstein, but you can't live in your mom's basement. You need to have,
of course,
apply that intelligence to something. So you need some ambition too.
Sure.
And then confidence in a humble manner.
Right. Now, what you're asking for
is a grown man. I need an adult.
Yeah, but what's odd is that those guys that you described, they're really not that common. And every guy wants to believe that they are alpha. Majority of guys aren't. Majority of people in general are followers.
That's right.
Right. It is. I think alpha is very, very overused. It's a very, very overused word. Okay. If you think you're an alpha in the strictest sense and you work for somebody, you're not an alpha. Does that make sense? Because alphas believe they could do it better themselves, and then they go and do it better themselves. Right.
In the strictest sense, I see what you're saying.
In the strictest sense. Now, there are very masculine men. There are very proud and confident masculine men. That doesn't necessarily make them an alpha, in my view, in my point of view.
Well, then that would make Biden an alpha because he doesn't work for anyone. I guess he works for the people. But
did you say Biden?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I wasn't talking about.
He just doesn't do it for me. But by your rules, I'm like Biden makes. I mean, because he's the head of it.
Politicians are a little different breed. But I'm talking
the leader heap, though.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. But and in every circle there is an alpha, and so on and so forth. But you can go to jail. I can go to jail tomorrow, and I'm going to find out who the alpha is quick.
Yes, you are.
All right,
Yes, you are.
So in every world. So, and the other thing is, men as they get older grow confidence unless they're in situations that leads them not to be confident, like a terrible relationship, divorce, getting laid off, because they understand that all those things matter in life, and it's very difficult. And the truth of the matter is, and here's the other side of the coin: the guy that you described, if he really and if he, let's say, he's even good looking, he's taken. Right. Right. So you got to get rid of the guys who are married, the guys who are committed, and the guys who are gay.
Yeah.
Now your pool is like this.
Well, I chat with a couple. I chat with a couple that are all the things that I mentioned. One more so than the other. Mm-hmm. Both single. I don't want to get too personal, but I tend to keep everything long distance. Because then I'm such a loner, so I can flirt and have these conversations and the interactions, and then my space is still mine.
I gotcha.
My environment is still under control, and there's no chaos.
Well, yeah, I don't think you're gonna. I think honestly, guys that are in their 40s and 50s and are established, I don't think they're looking to get married. I think they're looking for a companion on the weekends, go out to dinner and movie, stay home. So I don't think I really don't think you're. Believe me, I've spoken to girls, and I don't know if you watch any podcasts where there are women talking about their preferences and what they want, and it is like, I mean, they're describing there's this one. I swear to God, there's this one. You got to watch it. It's because it's crazy, right? There's this one podcast, YouTube channel called Fresh and Fit, and it's kind of getting bland because they kind of do the same thing every day. And what they do is they're in Miami, and they're two guys, and they bring in girls from Miami every day, every night's different girls, and they ask them basically the same questions every night, and these girls say the same crap every night, and they go, what are your standards? And by the time they get done with the standard, they actually have online, it's an app, and it's kind of a calculator, right? And it comes directly from the Census Bureau, and it will actually give you the percentage of men that fall into the categories that these girls want, right?
Uh-huh.
By the time these girls are done rattling off what they want, they're literally in the less than 1% population of men in the United States, right? And then he says, same thing I said. Then he's like, now you got to account for the guys who are not single anymore,
right,
and are gay. So now you have to take those two. So it's even smaller than you think it is, right? Because they're all like, he needs to make six figures. He needs to be handsome. He needs to be confident. He needs to be over 6 foot tall. He needs to be in shape. He needs to treat me like a queen. All this crap, right? And then they put it in this calculator. Okay, 6 foot tall, and then they'd be like, okay, what race? You know, and they'll be like, whatever, black, white, so on and so forth. And then they'll put, whatever, however what she is. Nobody says less than 6 figures, right? And literally, by the time they get down to everything that they say, it's always less than 1%. Sometimes it's like 0.0001%.
yeah.
Anyway,
I will say in their defense, although I thought a lot of the things, not everything that you listed was on mine as well. I like those things, but except other than I think that if I'm going to have this one life, I want the time I spend with someone to be worth it.
Absolutely.
And I'd rather be by myself because I make my best companion.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing it for this many years. I'm happy with who I am. Mm-hmm. And so I want someone who's going to be an addition.
Absolutely. Especially because you're an accomplished individual.
Not a subtraction. I feel like I feel like if I'm not with the right person, I feel like I'm being leached of my energy. Like a like they're a vampire and they're just sucking me dry of any of my creativity, my energy level, and they present chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And I just can't allow that. So
I don't blame you.
That's why I don't put myself out there to everyone. I'm very, very selective. And I think I have a right to be. And if I end up by myself, I'm okay with that because I'm already here and happy.
Right.
Something in addition to not to take away from.
No, well, you have a very accomplished life and you have a very fulfilling life. I mean, your career and your bodybuilding is very fulfilling, two very fulfilling parts of your life.
I stay busy.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's like you said, if you meet a man, you want him to be somebody that brings positivity and is adds something to your life. And I completely agree with that. I totally understand, So, okay, let's move on. That was a fun conversation, but we can move on. I'm going to make this the last topic because this is the most interesting topic with female bodybuilders. A lot of the girls embrace it. They go, fuck it. If this is going to make me money, then I'm doing it. And they dive headfirst into the fetish thing. Mm-hmm. And it could be, I had, what is her name? Carol Bennett, I believe, who was a competitive bodybuilder. She's not pro, but she's a friend of Rita West, and she's very, very muscular. She's very big. And we actually looked it up together while we were doing it. And I asked her what her strangest request was from, her DMs and so on and so forth. And it was referred to as ball busting. And she said, I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to do it. And we actually looked it up, how much a session is. And obviously, what ball busting is. I don't have to be specific, right? And the first number that came up, I don't know who the girl was, but she charged like over $1,000 for an hour of doing this. And then it went down to 400, 300, 400, 500. But I just couldn't believe the amount of money that these girls make doing it. I don't know if you ever watched Generation Iron, and I've also said this. I actually had King Kamali on. I don't know if you ever watched that King Kamali interview with Generation Iron when he talked about his friend who was a pro bodybuilder, but he left the name out. And they would work out together. And it was a girl. They would do like morning cardio together. And every day she would have a bag, like an Adidas zipper bag, but she wouldn't put it in the locker. She would always keep it with her. So after a day or two, he said, what's in the bag? And she goes, you really want to know? He goes, yeah. So he goes, open it. Now, this is back when he was like at the top, when he was an elite bodybuilder. So this was like, 20 years ago, right? So there was no Cash App or Venmo or anything like that. So she goes, open it. So he opens it and it's all cash, a duffel bag full of cash. And he goes, would you rob a bank? And the girl goes, no, I am part of, at the time they called the dark web.
Mhm.
And these guys pay me to do these fetish things, and she wasn't sleeping with them.
Yeah.
She was arm wrestling them. She was wrestling them. There was muscle worship. And the list goes on. So what I wanted to ask you is, do you get these requests, and what are some of the stranger ones that you've had?
I knew you were going to ask me this. So I actually haven't had that many, partly because I just instant delete most of my messages on Instagram, and I get, I don't know, 20 requests a day for engagement, whether, you missed a video chat, good riddance. I just, I
got you. Okay.
And I'm getting pictures sent and they block the content and that sort of thing. I only see just the beginning, and then that's when some will leak through because I see that they're legit people that, that's how I did a different podcast. And this is, I saw your message too early on and went, okay, this seems legit as well, but I wasn't sure. And then, so most of those are just deleted. So I actually don't read those requests.
Okay.
But some that I opened up and went, oh.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, oh, okay. Socks. They want my worn socks.
Oh, like from the gym or something?
Dirty socks.
Oh.
And right. Okay, so this is what's interesting though. And this is a side trivia note for you. Like, even if they wanted my shirts, South Koreans, the majority of us have, and I got at least 50% of this, don't have a gene that we don't have armpit odor.
Really?
It's I know it sounds fake, but it's the ABCC11 gene. And it also is linked to dry earwax. So if dry versus the sort of wet, greasy earwax.
Really?
Dry earwax and no BO. So it's really hard to find deodorant in South Korea. But anyway.
That's interesting.
So if I gave them my shirts, same with my socks, it's going to smell like laundry, clean laundry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I feel like if I sent him my socks, he'd be like, I want my money back because these aren't I'd have to have someone else wear the socks. Be like, yeah, okay, I'm sending him these. He's going to love these. What am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
He's not going to believe me. So I can't make any money on socks because I can't make them stinky. Or shirts. I do get asked for private cam sessions, and I just go, if I actually even respond, I usually go, no. I don't.
Right.
And then, this was the weirdest one, and it was one that I found alarming, and I was hoping that it was lost in translation, because I think he was from another country, I believe India. But I didn't know what the context was and whether English was second language.
That's very common to Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
And
if I did, and what if I'm just misinterpreting it? But it clearly said this: would you use your might to beat on a 12-year-old girl?
Oh my God. Like, oh.
Am I misinterpreting it? Maybe, because it wasn't perfect English. I was like, how could I make a case for this? How do you even interpret that?
My God.
Would you use your might to beat a 12-year-old girl as if it was could we set this up? I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Wow.
So that was probably my oddest one.
Wow.
I screenshot it. I sent it to my buddies, like, keep that for legal purposes, just in case. But that's a strange one.
Wow. That is, the more that I have this podcast and the more interesting people that I interview, the more people that there's some really, really strange touched individuals out there.
Yes, I felt that one was very disturbing. Everything else I feel is pretty, it's fine. I know that people have certain body fetishes. I love to hear when Dave Chappelle talks about his foot fetish.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's very common with men.
Yeah, that space between their feet. It's so cute. So funny. But I think that, I mean, I can talk that way. I don't kink shame. I don't all of those things, those interests, those fetishes appeal. They're not the only ones. So they find people that have that same fetish. So they're not a team of one. They're, and I think to myself, how it's not all that different from what we do as bodybuilders, in the sense that, except for we don't do it for a sexual purpose, but instead of focusing on one body part, we want all of ours to be magnified.
Well, I'll give you one example where I think it's okay to kink shame, especially since you're a vet, because
I do have one that I shame a bit, so we'll talk about that.
Okay, good. And I also asked the same question to another female bodybuilder. I will not release her name because then she's going to know who she is, and I don't want to do that because she told me off camera. She had a request. Somebody asked her to be naked, wear high heels, and for, I think it was $5,000, step on a kitten with her heels and kill the kitten. And she said, no, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. And he went up to 8,000. And she goes, I don't care how much you offer me. I'm not doing that. There's no way in hell I'm doing that. This guy wanted her to kill a kitten with her heels, stepping on. I'm like, my God, I couldn't wrap my head around it.
I know there are people that are probably genuinely interested in that, but is it also possible that he wanted to test the limits of how much she would do?
That's possible, but he had to think that up. I wouldn't even like, I don't know, maybe I'm very simple, but when it comes to sex, I kind of like, just the straight for, like, I found out through all this that what I thought were fetishes are not fetishes. They're just preferences. I like a certain body type. I like when a girl has nice hands and nice feet. I like a girl that is comfortable in her own skin, so that when we're in the bedroom, she's, if I tell her to do something, it's within reason. Obviously, it's no problem. Whatever, blah blah blah. Anybody who's uncomfortable is an immediate turn off.
Right.
And then I realized that no, these things are they're not fetishes. Their preferences. There's a big difference. And then I also took a breath and I was like, ooh, I'm not that strange. Okay, good.
I'm vanilla.
Yeah, I don't need therapy. Thank God. Okay.
Well, okay, so I will say this. So we go from fetish to, this is new for me, this whole, now that I'm on Instagram. I actually got asked to go on Instagram by another pro who I met at Olympia, who I was like, I was fanning out. But it was Brandon Ray. He's just like, I love him so much. He's such a good guy.
Brandon Ray?
Brandon Ray. And so he said, are you on Instagram? I'll add you. And I'm like, I don't have an Instagram. And he's like, you need to get on Instagram. So I did. And that was because of him that I started.
Okay.
He actually trained Angela Yao.
And it's Ray, because I thought you were going to say Brandon Curry. It's R-E-Y or R-A-Y?
R-A-Y.
R-A-Y.
Dude's really cool. And
white guy or
black guy?
Black guy?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it. I don't know. I'll probably get it.
He hasn't done a show in a long time.
Is he a bodybuilder, open bodybuilder?
Yes, he's a beast.
I'll find it.
And he's been working on in his cave. I would be thrilled to see him back on stage again because it's been a while, but he's amazing. So, so I went, and so this is a new world for me, seeing this whole female bodybuilder fetish or that sort of thing. But I came over from when there's also Asian fetishes. So.
Okay.
So I think I've always been accustomed to having to weed out people that had ulterior motives.
Right.
And actually getting to know the person that's there.
You know, it's so funny because I always say, you know, maybe it's me because I don't know what women go through. Because I always say, you know, when sometimes I see a girl at the gym and then, you know, I see her every day and I see her every day and I'm like, why doesn't she say hello? I try to say hello and she doesn't say hello. And it's totally innocent. I'm just trying to say hello. It's like you see somebody every single day at the same time, you know, or 4 or 5 days a week. And it would seem rude if you don't say hello. Yeah. That's how I look at it. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe it's just because I don't know. I don't understand what, you ladies go through, you know, because, the more I speak to women that are fit and so on and so forth, the more I hear more and more and more about this kind of thing. And I'm like, maybe that's the case. Maybe the case is they just rather not engage because they've had so many negative engagements. You know, I don't know.
I tend to be pretty friendly and engage with people because I feel like if they meet, what if that's the first time they're meeting someone, or it's the first time they're actually saying, I want to go say hi to her, right? Because she looks like she really works out. And then I'm that first engagement with that person. I would hate for, and also I'm not a famous IFBB pro, but I do feel like I'm part of that league, and I want to represent it in a positive manner. So I want them to have an experience that says she's all right, you know.
Good. So then the girls that don't say hello are just bitches then.
You know, they may be working with some different issues. I'm so blessed, as I said, to not have really bad interactions with people. I think that I have a demeanor about me that I feel like I'm very approachable, but
I think so. You're very friendly, and I mean, and the conversation is fantastic. And you have there's plenty of topics you can speak on. I mean, and speak on intelligently. You know?
I hope so. Not astrophysics, but you know, I mean, I've got my weak spots in geography.
Yeah.
But I feel like, what was that saying that I really liked is that, am I intimidating? Or are you just intimidated? That puts it on the other person, because I don't feel like I can be dominant. But what's interesting about it is, and I tell people this, I'm only 5'3", though. When you see me in person, you're just like, oh, she's pint size. I'm fun size.
Yeah, no, you're.
Yeah. They say that I'm physically intimidating, and I'm like, no. You should speak to me, because my mind is the thing that's scary.
You're talking about men talking to you, right?
I think just people in general.
Well, I'm gonna try to explain and defend men at the same time, as to why men don't approach women as much as they used to, and not nearly as much as they used to. First of all, the majority of people meet online now, dating apps, so on and so forth. And when you use dating apps, you don't have to worry about being embarrassed if a girl rejects you, or because one of the things that women don't understand because they don't go through it, is that we really get embarrassed when a woman rejects you, or so on and so forth. You just learn to deal with it as you get older, you know. And so majority of guys are more comfortable meeting people online now, and it just so happens that the large majority of people meet online now. The very few people meet socially in a social atmosphere. Couple that with the Me Too movement. Okay. And then there have been, I'm not saying all the time, there are plenty of guys that are pieces of shit, but there are plenty of times where false allegations have been brought onto by men.
I understand that.
You know, then put on top of generations of emasculating men, basically telling men not to be masculine, to embrace your feelings, to get in touch with your feminine side, so on and so forth. Well, I got news for you. Approaching women and asking a woman confidently out comes with masculinity. So if you generally pull that out, right? If you emasculate men, right? And it had, I see it in the generations. I could see the young guys, how different they are from how I grew up, and how even different from when my father grew up, the end of the World War II generation, right?
Very different.
So you put all that together, and you get men that go, you know what? I'm better off just meeting somebody online. Forget it. I'm not going to approach, right? I mean, I'm married now, so I have not, but what I try to tell the young guys at the gym or whatever is, I was like, you got to understand that if this is the case, if young men aren't approaching young women face to face, you got to understand that if you do decide to approach right, confidently, respectfully, you're going to put yourself in a position where one of two things is going to happen. She's going to be freaked out because, my God, this guy's actually talking to me. Or she's actually going to be turned on that you actually have the confidence to come up to her and talk to her.
Yeah.
And just, we're like, hey, I just wanted to talk to you. I noticed you from across the room. You look really great. And I want, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So one of those two things, whereas when I was young, that's the only way. And then you would literally be like a pain in the ass. Oh, another guy, get away from me.
You know what you could tell those young guys as well, because they'll just pay it forward and just tell them, if you never ask, the answer is always no.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In person.
Yeah. And
but then there's the modern woman too, that if I like someone, I'm the kind of girl that I'll ask.
Yeah.
I just don't see.
Well, you're the exception to the rule, because majority of girls, even when they're young, even the young generation, from what I see, they like to be the prize. So they like to be the ones.
They need to get off their ass if they want to.
That's the truth.
Don't be so lazy, and don't expect. Offer to pay, like Dutch, to offer to at least go Dutch, even if you're hoping that he pays for the whole thing. Right. I think that it's just good form to come to the table as an equal and not expect the scales to already be imbalanced.
Yeah. Do you know how many that
that's not fair.
Let's be frank here. If you were on a date, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going Dutch, and a guy went Dutch with you, or you paid for it, I understand you'd be okay with that. But then if you meet a guy who says, I'm going to take you to this restaurant, I made the reservations, I'll pick you up at such and such a time, and then pays for everything, wouldn't that be more attractive?
I'm still going to offer to pay my
but he's going to say no, as opposed to the guy that takes it. Wouldn't that be more attractive?
Depends on the guy.
So the guy that
because if a guy doesn't have the means to do that, but I still like the guy, it's not about how much money he makes. It's about what he makes. I mean, otherwise. So yeah, I wouldn't judge him for that. Because I make enough on my own.
Right. I understand. Right. Exactly. But as you're not going to date somebody who's broke. I mean, everybody has preferences and so on and so forth. So that's the exception to the rule. So what I'm trying to say is a guy who is, because earlier in the conversation, you said you wanted a guy who's more alpha, who's more masculine, who's more of a leader. And that guy is going to, if you do really meet a guy like that, he is going to say, what are you doing Saturday night? I know this great restaurant. Let me take you to it. I'll make the reservations. I'll pick you up at this time and we'll go. And he's going to pay for everything. What that guy is doing, he's stamping his masculinity immediately, right? And then what he's trying to say is, look, I can take care of you. I'm a man. And the things that you do, I respect that. I can take care of you and I could lead. And usually that's more attractive to a woman, usually, unless the woman intentionally wants to date down because of whatever commitment issue she has or manipulation issue she has, or so on and so forth.
I won't say that that's not more attractive. What I found most attractive was someone taking the initiative to make the plans. Right. That part, because the financing is immaterial if we're both coming to the table. Okay. you know?
Right. Sure.
So I think that that's kind of an equalizer there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah.
I think an alpha or someone who, so there's some alphas, or I hate saying that word because now you're right, it is very overused. The guys that I feel like are mentally
they're masculine. Yeah, they're more masculine men.
Some are like research types. So I've dated research types that they don't make a ton.
That's fine.
But right, and I thought it was fine too. And so that's why, and I found them just as attractive because of what they brought here.
Right. But you see, okay, so here's the difference. If a guy is a natural leader, right? If I'm making, okay, let's take me for example. Okay, last year I made about about 140,000. Now I'm in New Jersey, New York, whatever. So it's relative. I'm going to take you to a restaurant that maybe costs $200-300 for the both of us, right? So if you make 50,000, you could still make the plans. Just bring it to a restaurant that you could afford, so that you don't embarrass yourself. I mean, it's really not difficult, right? Yeah. Because if a guy says, look, and you know what you're getting into, right? So if you're dating a research guy that only makes $40,000-50,000 a year, whatever the case may be, and he goes, hey, you know, I have this great sports bar that I go to. That's where you go watch the basketball game. It could have wings and beers, but as long as he makes the plans and he's able to pay for it, right? He's putting himself in the position where he's not embarrassing himself, right? Where he doesn't have to say, I need half, or yeah, I'll take it, so on and so forth. It's not difficult, you know. Men just today's men
overthink it.
Yeah, today's men just don't know how to rationalize and reasonalize. And if the girl says, no, I don't like going to a sports bar or whatever the case may be, you know what, tough shit, then move on to the next girl. You're worth more than that.
Or if he cooks something and they take it to a park.
Yeah.
Prepare a lunch and take it to the park. I mean, if you can be that, I don't mean you have to be creative all the time, but if you don't have the means, there's other ways. And what they don't know is they're assuming when they meet me or some other girl that they're going to want all that top tier stuff. Right. When they don't know about someone, say like me, is that I have blue collar beginnings. I was we grew up poor, and in my town, Applebee's was
I still love Applebee's.
I still do too.
Still love Applebee's.
Like Applebee's was wow, this is the fancy restaurant in town.
Oh, okay.
And then if you really wanted to wine and dine, you drive an hour and a half, you go to Red Lobster.
Ooh, look out.
So what I mean is that they make assumptions based on where I'm at now, but they don't really know my beginnings.
Right.
I'll never get there if they keep trying to take me to the $300 a plate where you get, by the way, elf portions. I'm not paying $200 for elf portions.
You know what? Next time you're in New York,
I'm an eater.
And next time you're in New York and New Jersey, like if you do the New York Pro, right after the New York Pro, I'll take you to a nice Italian restaurant, right, where it's family style, where they give you more food than you know what you could do with, right?
Yes.
And believe me, you'll see there is absolutely no elf portions, but I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, believe.
Yes. If I go to a restaurant, I plan on eating.
Yeah.
And what every man needs to know when they date a bodybuilder, female bodybuilders,
we're going to eat. Yes.
We're going to eat, and we'll probably eat more than you. And that's just unless it's another bodybuilder, that's just a fact.
You know what? That is a promise. If you're on the East Coast,
I'm in.
Yeah, that's a promise. If you're on the East Coast, especially if you do the New York Pro, right?
I might, and because that's an early show.
Yeah.
It's really early in the year, which is why I tend not to do it. But in 2024, that would make sense because I'm taking a long off season.
Right.
And I've always wanted to do that show. So yes.
Okay. So then I am going to hold you to it. And then when you're on the East Coast, I'm going to take you to what I believe is one of the better Italian restaurants, and we'll pig out.
Glorious.
Jeanie, I just want to thank you very much for an interesting, stimulating, great interview. All right, you're a tremendous athlete and a tremendous person, and I truly, truly appreciate you coming on. Really, much love, much respect, always.
Pleasure was all mine. Thank you so much.
Likewise, and don't go away. I got that question about my dog.
Great. And then should I tell everyone? to.
Oh, Jesus. Yes. I apologize. Please tell everybody to like and subscribe
No,
to Serious.
I got it.
Okay, go ahead.
Like, subscribe, and share Serious and Silliness, and do it now or you're missing out.
Thank you very much. That was fantastic. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon.